Hi. I always say it's weird. It is 12:12 in Germany, or it was 12:12 when I was like sitting down and getting my phone set up. Today I'm not gonna be on too long because the kids are going crazy and we're about to jump in the pool because it's hot. I want to talk about what it means when people say God will provide. What it means when we talk about how, you know, everything we need will come to us the way we need it to, right? As usual, I'll use examples because it's kind of, easier with stories to explain things. So, growing up, my dad, after my parents got divorced, my dad, he became kids yelling at the kittens. He's in there cleaning out the cat litter box. I'm pretty sure the kids are attacking his toes. But my dad, he became a Christian. And one of the things he would always say was, God will provide, God will provide, God will provide. And, over the past 20-something years, since he remarried, I did see that very often, that, my dad would get, things would fall in a way, the pieces would fall into place in a way that would help him get through whatever he had to go through. But I didn't always recognize that as it being a divinely guided process because, well, I was aware of how much money my dad was making, or at least an extent of it. So I also saw that he had financial abundance through his career. I wasn't piecing together, that a lot of it probably was divinely guided, because if I think about the cost of living in his area and the medical bills for my stepmother, even with the amount of money he makes, there's still some things where it's like he paid for me and my kids to come back to Germany. Like, that money, that was a divinely guided process to make sure that he was able to help us get out of the situation I was in. So, information. Information comes to me not when I want to access it, but when I need it. Like when I'm channeling messages, for instance, right? And the channeling messages is something I've always been able to do. It was just something that I feared a lot of the time. But I was always, man, my allergies are so bad today. I was able to feel things. And on occasion I would have these moments where I was picking up things and I would just start crying. Like, I would cry and I'd be like, I don't know what this is, but I keep hearing something or feeling something, and like I would relay the message. And it was something that I feared. But it was also something that turned out to be channeling, and I was like, whatever, right? So as time went on and I started healing and everything, I started to, and I've talked about this in a couple of my videos, and some of you have actually witnessed this when I'm talking to you, is like I will randomly have this information that to me seems like a random thing to say, but then to the person I'm saying it to, it's going to click. Something's going to go click, and they're going to have an aha moment, a soul epiphany. It's going to cause a pretty big shift. And those are channeled messages. Those are things that come in when I need them because you need them. Right? So a lot of the information comes when we need it, not when we want it. So people are talking about, I'm going to go into the Akashic Records. Yeah, sure, we can do that. But sometimes, there's discernment involved, It's not about wanting the information. You will get the information that you need, but you're not going to get the information that you want necessarily throughout your day-to-day experience. And this could change. I might reach a point. Hi, I'm not sure who's watching, but hello. It might reach a point where I can do that and access whatever I want when I want it. But why would I want to do that, really? Like, it's exhausting trying to get information that's none of my business. So one of the things whenever we are going through life is going with the flow is the matter of, don't go looking for a bunch of answers all the time, because the answers will come when we need them. This last week, my son was sleeping at a friend's house on Friday night. My 6-year-old was at my sister's house So I only had my toddler. Doesn't happen very often that I only have one kid in the house. Doesn't happen at all. So I took that opportunity to repaint my living room because the toddler... Hi, how are you? Ramisha, am I saying that right? Is it Ramisha? I love that. I can't see when you're typing or not. That's weird. I always thought it would show up. But yeah, so I took the time to pay my neighbor to watch the toddler for a bit so I could repaint my living room because the 2-year-old turned it into the fingerprinted stamps, marker, crayon, not sure what the stuff was on the walls. So I painted and I rearranged. A couple days before that, I was online looking for a new couch because my couch was completely wrecked. And the next day, my mom hit me up and she was like, hey, I have this really big couch in my living room. Do you want it? I'm getting rid of it. And I was like, yeah, I want it. Because I need a big couch because I have a lot of kids. And if we have guests over, well, we need a big couch. So I have this huge couch. And then I was like, okay, so I need to get a bed for my son because his bed broke while I was rearranging his room. And I was like, the girls need to get a bunk bed because they don't have enough space in their room for all their toys and their furniture. So my mom offers me a couch. Couch, done deal. My sister says, because we were going to go to the mall on Saturday to go school clothes shopping for my 6-year-old. She starts first grade in August. And God, I can't believe that it went so fast. I'm old. I feel so old. So we went to, my sister said that her husband would come to pick up the couch with the big trailer that they have attached to their car. That they can hook up. So we went to the mall and then he went, and before we went to the mall, I stopped by IKEA. I was looking for a bed for my son. And then instead of a bed for my son, I found a bunk bed for the girls at a really good price. And my sister's bed, my daughter's bed is white. And I was going to get my son a white bed. And he needed a new closet because his closet, he had one of those closets that are like the plastic bars and they have like the cloth covering. I got him one of those when we moved in here because I needed something quick and cheap because moving is expensive. So I had gotten him that one, and whenever I was going to upgrade. So I was like, okay, so I'm going to get him a white bed, and then I'll get him a closet, and then my friend says, I have a closet you can have, and it's white. And I was like, oh, cool. So I got the couch that I needed for free. I got the closet that I needed for free. I got the bunk bed that I needed for a really good price, and that resulted in my son getting my daughter's bed, which is white, which matches the closet. So everything I said I needed, I got within 48 hours. This is called manifestation. This is manifesting what you need. And the universe is going to give you... I got a message. I'll read that later. Is going to provide. It's going to provide. This is what they say when they say God will provide. Goddess will provide. The universe will provide. This is what this is. This is when we are working towards becoming better people, when we're working towards healing, when we're working towards reaching a consciousness that is at a function of love, and we're serving. We're serving. We cannot just be like, oh, I'm healed, I'm good. We have to help others. In whatever way we can do that. It doesn't mean we have to go all out and buy everybody stuff and pay their bills. No, just things from the heart, things that mean something to other people, you know. Me and my neighbors, we have a really big yard, and they built a greenhouse, and we have a garden, and it's blooming, and we got a trampoline, and we got a big pool, and we have all these things. And my neighbor, he'll do cookouts. Right? He cooks out almost every weekend, and he will always let all of us eat. So, you know, like if I make some cornbread or some salad, I'll bring some out, and he provides, you know, a lot of food, and he provides all the drinks and everything. So it's like, when the party's over, so to speak, I always clean everything up. I help clean up. I make sure that things stay cleaned up. So, like, that's one of the things that I do. And his wife, a while back, she was like, you know, I usually don't compliment people, but I do want to tell you that I do see you cleaning up, and I appreciate it, because it means that they don't have to do that, right? They provide the food. They let us use their grill. I mean, he cooks. Like, he does all the cooking. Like, I don't even have to cook whenever he's cooking out, because he'll be like, you guys want some food? You know? So it's like, it's a give and take. We all help each other out. We all support each other. It's like a big family, right? My neighbors became my family. So that's what I mean by serving others, is, you know, you can do something that, whatever it is you can do to help somebody else, do that. But do it from a place of love. Do it without expectation. Because if we expect something, there's a selfishness behind it, you know? An alternative motive. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, alternative motive. So, and one of the ways that we see that we are being provided for is through things like that, through other people. Which is why we should not push people away. We should accept people, and we should accept their love, and we should accept their wisdom, and we should accept what they have to offer, even if, you know, we're struggling with the whole worthiness thing. When I first moved in here, I kept to myself for a long time. German moment. Because I was in a lot of physical pain, I was still going through healing and all this stuff. So I had maintained a distance from the neighbors. And then it wasn't until last year that I actually started to interact with them and hang out with them. And then it kind of, you know, I warmed up to them and they warmed up to me, and now we all like, they're family. They're family. And we've made like our heaven on earth here. You know, and it's really cool. So, but I had to open up to that. I had to allow myself to let them in, to trust that the universe was giving me exactly the kind of people I needed to be around, which is what happened. I have this perfect community here that's perfect for me, perfect for my family. And it's really cool, and I'm super grateful because I've never had that before. I've had what seemed to be like a perfect community, but there was always toxicity and some sort of abuse going on, and I don't have that here. This is unconditional love from all sides. The universe made sure that I was put in a position where I had it available to me, but then I had to go within and I had to work on myself and do some healing to open up to actually being able to receive it. So one thing was, when I lived in the old house that I was in before I moved here, one thing was like, I want to have neighbors that I can hang out with. I want to have neighbors like I did in the States where it felt like we were family. And then I got that when I moved here. I wanted to buy myself a little fire pit thing for outside my door because I have a separate entry door. Like my door is on the front of the building and theirs is on the side of the building for the 2 upstairs apartments because I'm downstairs. So I have my separate little piece of property. And I was going to get myself like, you know, a little fire pit and stuff. 2 days after I was talking about that, I go outside and the neighbor bought one. And I was like, oh, cool. So now we can make s'mores. So it was like a lot of things I would talk about I wanted to get, the neighbor would all of a sudden have. And he was like, yeah, you can use all this. So sometimes whenever we want something or we need something, we're not going to get it in the sense that we're going to go out and purchase it ourselves or we're going to have it given to us. Sometimes it's just that it becomes available to you through other people. So we should always be open to accept other people in our lives and accept the blessings that they have to give in whichever way they have to give. But we also have to, you know, understand that we bless people too. One of the things that my neighbors always tell me is that they always say the neighbor girl's always right. I'm always right. Like, there'll be some sort of thing we're talking about or trying to figure something out, and I'll be like, hey, how was so-and-so? And they're like, yeah, you're right. Like, I'm a problem solver. I'm a shadow worker. I go deep. And sometimes I say things that seems really weird, and then a couple weeks later, they're like, yeah, so that was actually a thing. You were right, you know? So we offer, you know, whatever it is we have to offer. We are the way we are. We have gifts that we have for a specific reason, and that's to serve other people. Because when you see other people as yourself, you don't look at it from a point of, oh, well, I'm doing this for everybody and I'm exhausted. No, you're looking at it for, you know, if I am serving them, I am serving myself. If they are happy, then I am happy because they are happy. Right? And we have to have our boundaries, of course. You know, don't give, and exhaust yourself, obviously. But that's the whole thing of, you know, do it with love, with the intent of being a blessing or teaching, you know, helping them learn a lesson. The purpose of love. And it will not be exhausting because we're not giving as a means to buy love or achieve some sort of validation or stroke our ego. That's when it's exhausting, when we're doing it for the wrong reasons, when we're not setting up boundaries because we're trying to get something out of it that serves our ego, our wounded inner child, you know. So things will come to us, will be provided through other people as well. Another form of manifestation would be, I would have like a thought or the channeled message come through. And I spoke about this one too. It was, I had the words decode Trump in my head and I was like, I don't understand what that means. And then somebody hit me up that I didn't know. And she said, hey, I added you. I hope that's cool. Why don't you go check out my friend's page? He might have some interesting information. And then he actually had the information that was decoding Trump. So I never had to look it up. I got a message. This is what we want you to do. Spirit said, I want you to do this. I want you to look into this. I didn't have the time to look into it, but the information was handed to me. The information came because the universe provides what we need when we need it. People will hit me up talking about, oh, you know, you do tarot cards, you're a demon person, or, you know, that's the devil trying to do, you know, lure you in, and I'm like, no, no, it's not. But it's okay for you to perceive it that way, you know. But, like, I can go on a full-blown message. I can give them a whole message, giving them the exact same information that Jesus was giving people, right? Or that Buddha was giving people, to be kind, to be compassionate, to be loving, right? To be a blessing to others, to forgive, to know when to turn the other cheek, you know, stuff like that. Those are all the same lessons that I learned and I wrote about in my blog as I was learning them, which later on I found out were the same lessons that Jesus spoke about in the Bible. And that's how I figured out, you know, Christ consciousness is by learning the actual lessons that Jesus learned to achieve the state of consciousness. Fly, you're tickling my back. To achieve the level of consciousness that he had. So it is a process, right? We have to learn the lessons and apply the lessons to break the cycles that we have in our life that keep bringing us down into this toxic, denser levels. So I can tell them all of this stuff and be like, you know, I'm not saying anything other than Jesus did, so why am I being led on by the devil if what I'm teaching is the exact same thing that Jesus did? I'm teaching people to love, I'm teaching people to heal, I'm teaching people to be kind. But all they will see is tarot. That's all they'll see. Or they'll only see Lucifer. Oh, you like Lucifer. Of course I like Lucifer. He's God's most beloved angel. Like, who am I to judge an angel? Who am I to judge anybody? Who are we to judge anybody? So if somebody comes up to me and they go, oh, well, you know, you can't talk about Lucifer like that because he's the fallen angel. He's a bad guy. And I'm like, well, who are you to judge him? Who are you to judge the fallen angel? Right? So people have a perception, right? There's this whole perception thing that comes in. So when we shift our perception and we are able to understand that things serve as a lesson or a blessing or a purpose, and we are able to see in these layers of these dimensions on how things unfold, we will also be able to recognize when we are being provided for by the universe. And it's not just, you know, I need $1 million, poof, here's $1 million. No, that's not how that works. I mean, be cool, but no. It works in a way that I used to be broke, right? I used to be stupid broke. And I started to shift my perception on how I viewed money. I started to apply the lessons I was learning about money. And then money came to me. I was given opportunities to make more money. I was given opportunities to lower bill payments so that I had more money. You know, and I didn't have to do much for them. They were presented to me. They were provided. They were divinely guided processes that secured my financial needs. And that was because I started to do the work. I started to do the work. And it's not that the universe says, you know, here, you know, because there's a whole law of attraction. If I say I need, then the universe echoes with you need. But it's not even exactly like that. It's when you're doing the work, when you're putting in the effort, when you're showing, okay, I want to break out of this cycle. And the universe sees that. The universe is paying attention, right? Because we're one energy. Like, it knows what we're doing, just like I know what's going on up there, whatever you want to call it, right? Like, we know what's happening. So it's not that I say, I need a closet for my son, and the universe goes, okay, then you need it, and you don't get it. No, it's me going, okay, I need to do this, I need this, I need this, I need this, because I want to upgrade my home, I want to make it look better, because I've lived here for over 2 years now, and my health had not given me, you know, I was in a position health-wise where I wasn't able to invest the way I wanted to in making the house look the way I wanted to, and now I'm at a point where I'm able to do that. So I put that intention out there, and I said, this is what I want to do. I want to make the house look better. I want, you know, things to be upgraded. I want the home to be the home that I wanted it to be from the beginning, but I was unable to do it because I was not healthy, physically, mentally, or emotionally. And that's when the universe goes, okay, you're putting forth the effort. You set the intention. I'm watching you do stuff, right? I started putting shit out. I got rid of my old couch. I had my neighbor and his friend get my couch out because I was going to get that new couch on Saturday. And I was like, you know what? While you're at it, let's take this old closet out that belongs to my son. I did not have a closet offer yet. Let's take my baby's crib out her toddler bed out. It's one of the ones where you can, use them both. And I was like, she doesn't have a bed yet, but she can just sleep in my bed for now. And then it was after I got rid of this stuff that I got the offer made. I have a closet you can have. Here's a bunk bed on whatever display in IKEA that is in your price range, and it's not too high because I didn't want one that's like really high because I don't want my toddler to climb up and fall out. So I have one that's like at my height so that I can make the bed easily and she doesn't fall from, And it was the only one there like that. It was the only one there like that. And it was 99 euros. And I was like, holy hell, a whole bunk bed for $100. Yes! Right? So I made space for these things. I set the intention. Hold on. Oh, man. Every time I try to hit see more, it goes, there we go. What's the cycle? Have you been able to pinpoint what the cycle is with these people? Where the lesson is that you need to learn? Because there's always a lesson. That's how we break out the cycle, is we learn, we pinpoint what the lesson is. And it's multiple sometimes. Yeah, cutting spiritual cords is not really easy, and sometimes it's fought by the divine, where they're like, no, this isn't happening, because we are all one. So if I'm trying to disconnect from someone spiritually, because there's that's like, I can disconnect from someone, I can withdraw my energy, right? We can withdraw our energy from the situation, from the people. We can choose to not interact with them. We can choose to, keep them out of our life as much as possible. But to spiritually disconnect from them means that you're pushing a part of yourself away. Because as an energy, we are all one. And I'm still trying to find words to actually explain what the whole oneness thing is, because it's a really intense feeling. Wow, words coming in. Thank you, guys. So it's like this. If Jesus and Lucifer, for instance, right? Because they're polar opposites, right? Jesus fell for us, died for us, in the aspect of light to get to heaven. Lucifer fell for us in the aspect of he's going into the darkness to help us through the darkness, right? So they did the same thing, but from opposite ends of the spectrum. And we perceive them, one is light, one is dark, one is love, one is evil. But overall, it's still that same energy, right? So say Jesus, for instance, were to come across Lucifer, and Lucifer was saying, hey, I have to manifest a natural disaster because the world has gone to poop and we need to make space. Remember how I was just saying, I got rid of the closet, I got rid of the bed, and then it came into me. Then the universe was like, hey, look, here's the stuff. I made space, I set the intention, and then I manifested what I needed. The universe provided me with what I needed. And it came quick, and it came without much of a hassle, So if Jesus and Lucifer are having a conversation, and Lucifer says, I have to manifest a natural disaster to make space for the blessings for humanity, for humankind. And yes, this is going to cause pain, and yes, this is going to cause destruction, and yes, it is going to cause a lot of death. Jesus cannot say, well, I'm going to use my manifesting abilities to make sure that you don't manifest this natural disaster. Jesus is going to go, okay, well, I understand what you're saying. I don't necessarily feel it's a good idea to do all this, but I'm not going to manifest against what you're doing. I'm either going to be neutral or I'm going to assist you. And it's not that Jesus would be saying, yeah, let's kill billions of people or millions of people. It's just that Jesus would be understanding that if I'm fighting Lucifer, I'm fighting myself, because we are one energy. So when we're trying to cut a spiritual cord to somebody, that's like pushing them away. But since we are one energy, we're pushing a part of ourself away. And when we try to push a part of ourself away, and this is something that we do in our life, is we're pushing our pain away, we're pushing our fear away, we're keeping our inner child hidden away in a little corner, rocking back and forth because it's traumatized, and we're not allowing it to heal because we don't know how, you know. We're pushing that part of ourself away. We get that disconnect from spirit, we get that disconnect from the universe. And that's what leads us into this dark night of the soul, this depression, these cycles of pain and trauma and pain and trauma and pain and trauma. And moments of awakening where we're like, there's more than just what I'm experiencing, but then we have to make that choice to go into that veil, into that darkness, and retrieve that inner child and help her or him heal. And that's how we get back in connection with our spirit, because we're healing, and then we learn these lessons that Jesus learned. We reach that point where we understand oneness, and I don't know what comes after that. I'll let you know when I get there. So, but if you're trying to push yourself away, even through the cutting of a cord to another aspect of yourself, which everybody is a specific aspect of ourselves, even if it's just a tiny little thing, we're pushing ourselves away, we're pushing spirit away. Because anytime we push anything away from us, energetically, that is supposed to be serving us, which everybody's serving us, we just don't realize it until we start to shift perception, until we start to find the lessons within the cycles or the purpose within the person. People who hurt us, usually that purpose is for us to wake up and learn to love ourselves, to wake up and to learn how to set boundaries. I had an ex, he did physical harm, mental harm, emotional harm. He stole, he broke shit, he threw furniture at me, slammed me into the wall pregnant, just a lot of bullshit. And I was mad at him, and then eventually that anger shifted towards myself, because I realized there was no way in hell that I could have been able to tell him what I needed from him or accept the kind of love that I really wanted, because I wasn't able to love myself, because I was pushing parts of myself away. So I learned how to love myself through the experience of abuse. And not just by him, by cycles and cycles and cycles and cycles of different forms of abuse in different ways. Abuse towards others, people being abusive towards me being abusive towards myself, towards my body. And I learned that all of that abuse served a purpose for me to learn self-love, for me to learn to acknowledge my worth, for me to set healthy boundaries and learn what a healthy boundary is, because there's a difference between a healthy boundary and a toxic wall. We set up toxic walls and keep out blessings and lessons because we fear what might come of it. We fear the possibility of love. We fear the possibility of getting hurt and disappointed. So we set up a toxic wall and we don't even allow it in, and we get stuck in this comfort zone. So when we're trying to cut somebody out, we have to learn what these lessons are, because I knew a guy. His name was Richard. Sweet guy. We got along. Went on a couple dates. But he had this thing, he did not want to make an effort. He said he wanted a relationship, but he kept saying he doesn't want to make an effort. And this was a point in my healing. This is actually not too long ago. I met him last year. This is at a point in my healing where I'm starting to really speak up for myself, where I'm saying, well, I'm not okay with that. If you want to be in a relationship and I want to be in a relationship and we're in the process of getting to know each other, then shouldn't we both be making an effort and not just me? And then, it turned up with me, I cut him off, right? I cut him off. And I was doing my own thing, and I was talking to somebody else, and I'm happy, and I'm doing my whole chakras are clearing, and I'm having these shifts and everything, and these epiphanies of the soul and whatnot. And he would just kind of, like, every couple of weeks, he'd kind of just pop back into my DMs, And I recognized him coming in as a cycle to see if I was willing to step into my self-worth and break that cycle of having somebody on the back burner just in case the guy I really like doesn't work out, for instance, right? Or to be on his back burner if, like, he can't find someone, or if he's bored and he gets to be like, oh, let's see if she's available. I reached a point where I realized I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with being an option, let alone the last fucking option, right? I'm a choice. You either choose to make an effort and come forward and invest your time and energy in me. I'm not saying you can't go see other people. Dating is an open field until a commitment is made, right? But I recognize that cycle. And the last time he hit me up, which was a couple weeks ago, not that long ago, I told him, look, I don't mean to sound like a bitch, but don't hit me up anymore. I told him I'm not going to be on your back burner. I'm not going to be some person you can reach out to when you're bored or when you're hoping to maybe get laid. I'm not even having sex. So, like, what's the point, right? But I told him don't hit me up. And he hasn't. He has not hit me up. I broke out of that cycle. I recognized the cycle. I recognized that he had come in to serve a purpose, to help me acknowledge part of myself, which was the lack of self-worth and the lack of boundaries. Even though at this point I was convinced that I was, completely in alignment with my self-worth and completely in alignment with setting boundaries. No, there's always something that's going to come in. It's going to sneak its way in. And we're not going to recognize the lesson until that very moment when we need that information. It'll click. And it'll be like, oh, I see it. Let me break the cycle real quick. So sometimes it takes time. Fluid stuff, but time to really open up. To really open up to the possibility that maybe we missed something in our shadow, right? Maybe we missed something. Maybe I'm not as healed as I thought I was. Maybe I'm not as good at pinpointing cycles as I thought I was. You know what I mean? So there's always more to learn. It's a never-ending ascension, and even after we reach enlightenment and we know all, it's still a matter of, living life in a way where we can cope and handle and learn the lessons. We're still going to be learning lessons. There's still going to, stuff going to come through. Enlightenment, Christ consciousness, it's not a state of perfection. It's a state of peace. We don't become perfect beings. We still live life, and we still have to acknowledge the cycles that come through, and we still have to break them, and we still have to accept things for what they are and learn when to set boundaries. And it's a way of maintaining that consciousness. We have to maintain that consciousness because we can always fall back down. Because life, we're human. That's the experience, is to have the human life. And we're learning these lessons and breaking out of these cycles so that we can reach a specific type of consciousness. And then when we reach that consciousness, we have to make sure we keep it. We see our friends, we see people, they're in a super, super duper great state of mind. They're having the time of their life, and then something happens and they plummet down into fear, right? They go from joy all the way down to fear, and they get stuck in fear. It's okay to fall into fear. It's okay to go into depression. It's okay. We have these shifts, But the thing is, the more up we go, the less low we get, and the less likely we are to stick around in those lower density vibrations, for too long. But sometimes it happens that something will come in and, it could be energetically, it could be mentally, it could be physically, it could be an experience, and it'll plummet our fucking vibration so low that we kind of got to start over again, And when we reach a specific level of consciousness, the point is to be able to stay there. Drop a little bit, whatever, cool, let's pull ourselves back up. So when we're trying to disconnect from people, we're pushing away a potential lesson that we need in order to ascend. And we're not supposed to keep toxicity around. It does serve a lesson. Toxic relationships, abuse, they do serve a lesson. They do have a purpose. That's what I mean. They serve a purpose. They have a lesson. Same thing, right? I hear my kid being angry. One of them. I have 3 kids, by the way. I don't know, but I got 3. So is it okay to let people walk all over us? No. It's not. Is it okay to disconnect? Yes. Set boundaries. I had cut my family out, my mom and them, for most of my last year, because I bled out and I realized some stuff about my family, and I was like, I can't have them around in my process of healing. And once I did that, that's when I was able to really step into my authenticity. And even then, it still took a while. But I was reaching a point where I wasn't trying to impress my family, and then I was like, I'm going to let them be them. I'm not going to let their negativity influence me. I'm not going to make it, I have allergies. I'm not going to let them affect me in my healing process. And this was, I didn't know what ascending was. I didn't know what any of that stuff was. All I knew was that I had to heal. And I was divinely guided. This was all divinely guided stuff that at this point I didn't recognize it for what it was. But now when I look back, I can tell you exactly when spirit stepped in and was like giving me a little nudge or a push or a whisper to get me to do something or react a certain way to something, or respond, to set something in motion that served a greater purpose, which was my healing process. And when I started to do that, and then when I did get back into contact with my family, there were moments where I was triggered, but it was easier. They weren't able to put me in a depression anymore. Like my family they had me in depression so bad at one point that I was just like, I don't even know why even fucking be here. What's the point, So they weren't able to do that anymore. They were not able to affect my energy in that kind of way. Yes, they could trigger me. Yeah, they could hurt my feelings. But I was able to, because in that 6-7 months that I wasn't talking to them, I was able to learn how to go within myself and also within other people. So when I see my shadow, I see my trigger, okay, this is why I'm triggered. Then after I figure that out, I could go, well, what is it that made this person act or say this, though, to trigger me in the first place? Right? So I started to recognize the lesson within the trigger. And then I started to recognize their part, because they don't realize when they're hurting other people. We don't realize when we're hurting other people unless we're doing it intentionally, in which case we're assholes and we need to stop. But no, don't be a dick, right? That's one of the things, don't be a dick, that I say to people. But we don't intentionally hurt people when we're not healed, and my family, they have a lot of unresolved trauma. So I started to see that. I started to recognize that. I started to channel messages about it. I started to have visions about their trauma. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. I get it now. So we can cut these people off. We can not communicate, keep a distance, set the boundaries. Communicate, though, before you do that. Or after you start talking to them again. It's good to release. Right? We have our emotions, for instance, right? You're sitting there, you're doing good, watching TV, and all of a sudden, for whatever reason, you have this crazy urge to cry. And you just bust out snot and bubbles everywhere, right? That's an energetic release happening. And we should let that happen. We should let that flow. Sometimes we get the urge to tell people something, speak our truth. And we should do that. We should watch our tone. We should watch our tone when we talk to people. We should choose our words carefully. We should do it at a moment after we've had time to process and not just as a reaction, right? We should take the moment to go within, figure things out. How am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way? And then respond instead of react. That way we don't have these crazy conflicts come up. Or at least not as bad as if we were just all over the place. So, but one of the things that we do, with these cycles as well is say you have, I don't know who these people are in your life, but say one of them has treated you in a way that makes you feel like you're not worthy of love, right? Say that's one of the things. And you recognize, okay, well, I don't feel worthy of love because of this happening in my childhood, or this happening in this relationship, or whatever the circumstances may be. And you recognize that. And then you can tell them. You can write a letter or send a message or talk to them in person or on the phone, and you can tell them, I felt unworthy of love because of, this and this and this situation. It's not your fault. You didn't know that you were doing that, but I just wanted to make it aware that this specific thing made me feel this way about myself, and I worked through it. I feel better about myself now. I don't give other people that power anymore. And this is where that forgiveness thing comes in. We forgive ourselves because we didn't know that we were feeling unworthy. And then we forgive them because they didn't know that they were triggering us in a way that made us feel unworthy. So we can have those conversations. And I've learned that those kind of help close out cycles too, is actually reaching out to the people who hurt us, who ultimately served a purpose for us to learn a lesson, to ascend, in our ascension, to help us, reach higher levels, reaching higher levels of consciousness, learning new lessons to improve how we feel about ourselves, therefore how we feel about the world. Because if we're sad or mad, we're not going to perceive the world with beauty and love. We're going to perceive it as a sad and angry place. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world that's absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. And I see it and I feel it. But it's not something that affects me in a way where I'm like, oh, doom and gloom and darkness, because I see the big picture. I see that, the Luciferian energy has to come in, cause destruction in the name of God, in the name of the universe, in the name of the energy, the powers of all, be, mother, whatever you want to call it, because it's making space for the blessings to come in. And that's, something that we have to be able to do. Make space. Oh, man. Every time I wish I could show you guys. Every time I hit send, see more, my fingers are like, no. You're welcome. Yeah, it's a process to forgive. But once we figure it out, it becomes easier. And it's fun. Like, I have so much fun doing this stuff. Even when something comes up that I didn't realize was a problem, and I'll be crying to my girls on WhatsApp, talking about, I can't be that person anymore. Once that's released and cleared, I'm good. And, I wasn't able to reach out to this specific person because I don't remember her last name or anything. But I did, in one of my lives, I actually apologized. I was like, I don't know if you're ever going to see this, but I'm putting the apology out there publicly. Because it was just one of those things where I was like, I need to apologize to this person. So, yeah, just, you can disconnect, and you can set your boundaries, and go within and figure out what lesson or purpose these people were serving to begin with. I need to do my nails, man. This is a mess. But yeah, like spiritual cord cutting, I've tried it. And then I ended up having a dream of the person I was trying to spiritually disconnect from, which is actually the father of my girls. And in the dream, he was sitting there crying, and his wings, he had wings ripped off of his shoulder blades, right? Where the wings are on an angel, they were ripped off. And I realized that I did that. I ripped off his wings when I tried to disconnect, when I tried to cut that spiritual cord. By ripping off his wings, I ripped off my wings. Because we're all connected. But we get our wings back. we get our wings back. It's part of the process. It's pretty cool. I didn't know that was really a thing until I received that message, and I was like, wait, what? I don't see any wings. I don't see any wings. But it's just, it's a consciousness that we reach. But yeah, what was I talking about at first? There was the whole making space, God will provide. Yes, so God will provide, the universe will provide. Physically, mentally, emotionally, things will come into place, even if we don't see it from a perspective of love at first, because it could be a karmic cycle, right? We're still being provided with lessons. So whenever Richard kept coming into my space, he was serving as a lesson to break the cycle. And I had been breaking the cycle with toxic men, regarding sexuality and stuff like that, for a hot minute. But the cycle with him coming in again wasn't about sex. It was just about me communicating my boundaries and sticking to it. Because every time he hit me back up, I would give him a little bit of attention, because I'd be like, well, maybe if things don't work out with this guy, or maybe if this and this, maybe I'll get bored one day, or maybe I'll just really want some cuddles and I can hit him up. And then I realized, well, if I'm on his back burner and he's on my back burner, we're doing the same shit. We're reflecting each other, So I told him, look, I don't want to be a bitch, but don't hit me up. Like, we're not doing, this ain't it. I hope you find what you're looking for, but it's not me, because I don't want to do the whole options and back burner stuff. So I recognized that cycle, and I broke it. And whenever I shifted that, when I had that energetic shift that came with it, it brought someone else closer to me, energetically and physically. It brought them closer to me. So we have to make space. We have to make space, whether it be, clearing our mind, clearing our chakras, our emotions, going through our shadow and figuring stuff out, moving things out of the house. We have to make space to receive blessings. We have to have an exchange, an eye for an eye. Odin gave an eye so that he could get wisdom, the vision of God. Seeing and vision are not the same thing, right? Because we see with our eyeball, but vision from a higher consciousness is not the same thing, right? Like, I see this tree, but with vision, you see the purpose of the tree. You see the life of the tree. You understand that it is an energetic being in itself and that it communicates with the world around it. So we have to give something to get something. And that's what, that's something that a lot of people have a hard time doing. We have a hard time letting go. We have a hard time letting go of things, and we are too safe. We feel safe in these comfort zones that we put ourselves into. Even if it's painful, just because it's a comfort zone does not mean that it actually provides comfort. It just means that it feels like the better option, because the other option would be to jump. And if we're jumping into the unknown, we don't know where or if we are going to ever land. So we get stuck in these comfort zones. And these comfort zones have the karmic cycles over and over and over. The same lessons coming through over and over and over, because we're not stepping out to look from a different perspective, to shift our behavior in order to learn the lesson, apply the lesson, because the karmic cycles will keep coming back around in different ways. But it'll be the same message over and over within that karmic cycle, and we have to apply the lesson and apply the lesson and apply the lesson. And the more we apply the lesson, the less the karmic cycle comes back around. And it's going to keep coming back around eventually. It might just be more time apart. If you start to fall into an old way of thinking and you don't recognize it, that karmic cycle is going to pop up real quick. Real quick. It's going to be in your face. Boom, here I am. What are you going to do? And then you're going to go, oh, I remember that. Let me backtrack and, step right back out of that cycle. I don't want to be that person, right? I don't want to be that person. We don't want to be the person we were 2 weeks ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, because odds are, if we are on a spiritual path now, odds are that what brought us to that was a lot of pain. We didn't get here just like waking up one day, being completely happy, going, oh, I'm just going to be spiritual now. No. We had addiction, we had abuse, we had inner childhood wounds and trauma, and we've seen stuff, and PTSD and illness and all of these things is what brings that pain to an extent where we wake up to our inauthenticity, where we wake up to the fact that we are completely disconnected from who we really are. Therefore, we are completely disconnected from our higher self and from God. Hello, spider. I don't like that you're in my house, but watching you walk is actually really cool. This is a weird ass looking spider. It looks like a daddy long legs, but I don't think we have those here. Or do we? Are you a daddy long legs? I don't know. It's just working its way up my wall. I will let you stay. Maybe later I'll put you outside. I don't know. I try not to kill the bugs. It's a weird thing. Bees. Bees are great when they come in my house because I'm allergic to them. The wasps. So I'm like, don't sting me. But I'll talk to it and it'll fly back outside. I don't know. It's weird. The whole energy thing, at some point you can communicate with nature in a way that's really awesome. It's just chilling there. I just want to make sure it doesn't get back on the ground. You should go up. If the toddler comes in, you're screwed. Or the cat. Oh boy. The other day, my cat had a mouse in my house. When I was painting and I heard squeaking, and I thought that it was my toddler playing with a toy. And then the squeaking got louder, and I turn around, and there's a little mouse running away from my cat, and I was like, oh my god, no! So I catch the mouse, and when I put it back outside, I saw that it got paint on it. And I really wanted to like try to clean off the paint because it was on the face and on the neck, and I was worried that it would like get in its eye. But how do I clean a mouse's eyeball, right? So I just set it free. I was like, bye, little mouse. Yeah. Poor thing had paint all over it. So yeah, the universe provides. Not always the way we want it, not always the way we think things are going to come in, right? We will have what we need when we need it. We will have what we need when we need it. And it can come in different ways. We just have to open up to seeing it, because we don't always see it. Manifestation, at some point, it becomes so normal that we don't realize it. This is what happened to me. With the closet thing and the bed thing and the couch thing all coming in at the same time. When I was at IKEA, I bought some new dishes, right? Because, like, I got kids, dishes break, none of the sets are complete. So I was like, let me get some dishes. And I was looking at silverware because a lot of my silverware has gone missing over the past 2 years, too. And I was looking at silverware, and my spirit guide said, don't buy the silverware. Cool, Pete, I ain't going to buy the silverware. So I get home. The next day, my friend hits me up. She goes, hey, because she's moving in with her boyfriend. So they're like getting rid of shit, right? Because they don't need 2 of everything. She goes, hey, I have this full set of silverware. Do you need silverware? Yeah, I need silverware. So I'm getting silverware. She's going to bring it sometime this week. I don't know. Her parents are my neighbors, so. But yeah, see, like, I listened to my higher self. I didn't buy the silverware. And now I'm getting the silverware. I got rid of the furniture, and then I was shown options and ways to get the furniture that I got rid of. And my friend Shauna, she said, you instantly manifested everything you just talked about the other day. She was like, everything you said you needed, you literally got everything instantly. She said, you manifested all that instantly. That's crazy. And I was like, oh, you're right, I did. Holy shit. And I told her, I was like, I didn't even recognize that as manifestation. And she said, well, maybe it's because you're so used to it now, because anytime you say you want or need something, you get it. And I was like, yeah. But I don't want to lose track of that. I want to remain aware of that I'm doing it, because, you know, I was like, I don't want to fall into a place where I seem ungrateful because I'm able to manifest like that. I want to stay in that, you know, in that place of gratefulness. So I was like, thank you for pointing that out to me, because I didn't realize what I was doing. I didn't realize that I instantly manifested all this stuff. And, you know, it's not just me manifesting, it's the universe providing, because, well, the universe is within me and within you. Therefore, it provides through our actions, through our intentions, through our ability to perceive it that way. You know, we've all had moments where we had nothing, and then all of a sudden we had exactly what we needed, whether it was a meal or gas money or medication, you know, even if it was something that wasn't healthy, you know, like, we can manifest. We can manifest exactly what we need when we need it if we're doing it from a place of love. If I'm trying to manifest $1 million because I want $1 million, I'm not going to get $1 million. But if I'm manifesting what I need in order to start a business where I can help people heal spiritually so that they can overcome drug addiction and mental illness, which is my goal. That's why I started this whole thing, right? I started my blog because I was like, I want to help people heal, and I don't know what to do, and I'm supposed to be writing this book, and I don't know what to do. And then my guides were like, share your journal online. So I started to share my journal online, starting with the Dark Night of the Soul. And then at some point, my journal turned into, you know, the blog. The blog became my journal. I started to write everything on here instead of in a journal. I mean, I have things in the journal that are like, you know, things that I'm not sharing because, like, it's not ready to be shared, or just because it's like super personal stuff, or stuff that's not anybody's business because it's not my stuff. It's like something, you know, from someone else. So yeah, but for the most part, I put my whole journey out there, you know, and I didn't realize that was a divinely guided process for people to watch, for people to be able to witness the fact that, man, this spider is just doing stuff. It's so cool to watch. He's got this one super long leg. I'm not sure what it serves, like what the name for it is maybe, but he uses it to kind of feel around what he's doing or where he's going. And I never noticed that they do that. And I don't know if maybe it's just this type of spider, but it's really fun to watch that. But yeah, the hell was I saying? I get so sidetracked. I still feel really tired. I've been super tired lately. Manifesting, right? That's where I was at. Total brain fart. Do you get those? I get brain farts a lot. But yeah, so we have to make space. We have to understand that things don't always come the way we expect them to. Oh yeah, I was talking about I was divinely guided. I was divinely guided to post my blog. It shows, my blog shows the process. It shows the process of dark night of the soul, mental illness, which the other day I found a journal I was writing in when I was still in the States, and I wrote about my bipolar disorder. Ooh, where did I put that? When I find it, I'll come back on and I'll read it. But for real, where did I put that? Huh. Weird. I don't know. But yeah, but the blog shows the dark night of the soul. And then, because whenever I started it, I was already in a pretty good place, right? I was already in a pretty good place, mentally and emotionally and physically. I was, healing and everything. And I had already gone through the whole Sekhmet experience and the Lilith experience and the burning the box of bullshit and, overcoming a lot of the mental illness things that I had going on and the fibromyalgia that was completely gone. So I had already healed a lot. And I was putting down the journal entries and writing things as they came to me and, things when I was having conversations with people. Where I would have like these responses on a comment where I was like, well, let me take this and put it into the blog because I feel like this would be something that other people would benefit from too, and not just the person I was talking to, So a lot of my blogs come through me having conversations with people and coming to these realizations. So the blog shows the process. It shows the process of healing. It shows how shadow work is done. It shows how shadow work brings us to a different consciousness. Carl Jung said shadow work is the key to enlightenment. Right? He was a psychologist. Spirituality and science, they belong together. The Bible speaks of science. There is a biological process that happens in the human body that is the anointing of Christ, the oil of Christ. It resides in our spine, in the base of our spine. And it goes up the spine, 33 vertebrae. Jesus was 33 when he got crucified, right? It goes through the vertebrae, 33 up. And during this process, there are symptoms that come with it, ascension symptoms through the chakras, right? In the chakras. And ultimately, this oil that is in our spine reaches our pineal gland, I believe it's how it's pronounced, pineal gland, whatever. And that is when we see God, right? The anointing of Christ within the spine, the Christ oil within the spine, is the same process as a Kundalini awakening. The serpents are in the base of the spine. They work their way up the spine through the chakras, clearing shit out, and then they get to the crown where you have your enlightening moments. And that's spirituality, biology, and religion all backing each other up. The same story. Hi, Christine. The same story, the same purpose, the same lesson, but worded differently because it's coming from a different perspective. And that's actually how the Bible is written. right? It's got layers, dimensions to it. And if you're looking from one perspective, you're only going to see one way. And that's what a lot of people do. They look at it literally. But the story of the anointing of Christ, biologically, is also in the Bible. And I have the video. I put it on my blog because this is one of the things where I needed information. And I immediately got it. It was handed to me via messenger saying, oh yeah, here's that video I wanted to show you that my friend made, and it was the anointing of Christ, the Christ oil within the spine. And then I was like, hey, that's the same thing as Kundalini awakening. And that's when it hit me that it's all the same thing and that each thing backs up the other thing. But people don't see that because we only perceive from one specific point. Like I said earlier, so I haven't fallen asleep. You haven't slept at all yet? Oh my God, Christine. You have been up for fucking ever. Girl, take a Benadryl. Go to sleep. Did you meditate? Sometimes I go into like this meditative trance instead of sleep. Christine, can you write Carol a message on here? Because I don't know if I can... Can I type? Oh, I can. Hold on. I'm trying to figure out how to do this still. Carol... No, fat fingers. Carol has a hearing problem. Yeah, we're going through a collective purge. We are. And it is intense. Even my kids feel it. They have been emotional wrecks. But yeah, I always have to go back and turn on the subtitles. And I don't know if I can set it up to where the subtitles will play when I'm on the live. I've tried to figure it out and I haven't. But if anybody knows subtitles, let me know. I know that I can go in after I'm done with the live and I can like adjust it and turn them on. So I'm going to do that. But yeah, and it sucks because she always says she feels like she's missing out, and then I feel bad because I don't know how to turn it on. I don't know. I'm going to have to see. Maybe there's an app or something that she would be able to download. I'll have to look into that. Yeah, there's purges. There's shifts going on. What was I saying? Can you see my eyes? Like, can you see how tired I am? And I have allergies. The blog was showing, still stuck here. The blog is showing that Carl Jung was right. It shows that spirituality and science go together because I bring in astrology, astronomy, both. I bring in psychology, shadow work, Carl Jung, the inner child, wound healing, right? I bring in biology, the anointing of Christ, the Christ oil within the spine. I bring in spirituality, Kundalini rising, chakras. Everything is in the blog. And it shows how everything is connected. It shows how everything belongs together. So spirituality and science belong together. And science, I mean, I say science is a broad spectrum because psychology is science and biology and astronomy and quantum physics. Quantum physics is literally the foundation of which humanity is built upon. It is the foundation that we are built upon. Spirituality is built upon because we are spiritual beings in a human vessel, right? And that says that we are all one energy. We derive from the same energy. Well, quantum physics is literally all about energy and how it works and how it's connected. And that's why during our, ascension process, we randomly start having this weird information pop up around us, or we're feeling drawn to look up something that would never interest us. Like when Christine here recently was like, I don't know why, but I keep getting quantum physics thrown at me. And I was like, well, that's because quantum physics is part of spirituality, because it's science and it goes hand in hand. And in order for us to really understand what it means to be one, we have to have just a little bit of quantum physics knowledge. We don't need a lot. Just enough to get that specific plant going, seed planted. I can't talk today. Mercury's in retrograde and Jenna is fine. It goes out of retrograde and I'm a fucking mess. I need Mercury back in retrograde, okay? But yeah, so it all goes together. And my blog shows that. And it shows the process of reaching, you know, higher consciousness and the shifts that come with it and the physical symptoms that come with it. It's like a guide, kind of, you know. And I didn't know that was going to happen. I didn't know that. I was just like, yeah, I'll post my journal online. I'll put my shit out there. I don't have a problem with that. I'll make myself look like an idiot. I will expose all of my bullshit, all of my fucked upness to serve other people and helping them see by example, you know, what I've done. Because I can sit here and I can tell people, oh, well, this is what this is and this is what that is and this is what that is. But it's not going to do us any good if we're just being told what it is, but we don't understand how the person got to that conclusion. I can say, we are one all I want. We can say it all we want, but to say it and to feel it are two different things. You know? And we have to go through specific lessons in order to actually reach that form of consciousness where we really understand that being one means, you know, we are energetically connected in a way that I cannot push others away without pushing myself away. I can set my boundaries, yes. I need to set my boundaries. That's part of my authenticity, is to set my boundaries. And to, you know, speak my truth in a way that does not intend to harm. Yeah. That does not intend to harm. Always very important, the intent. So, but that's what the blog turned out to be. It turned out to be a full-on guide. Still going, right? I'm still learning shit. Still learning. The lessons come in differently now. I understand them faster. And the integration process is quicker. The anchoring process is quicker. I was having shift with like no fucking break, and right now I've actually had the longest break I've had in a while. But I'm already working through the chakras again, because like that's what happens. Hello, Moto. Hi. How are you? Is your name pronounced Syed? Is that how I say it? Syed Hassan? My window's open and I didn't take my allergy meds. I should have done that. But yeah, so the blog has become like a guide for people to be able to see, you know, she's not just talking, because there's a lot of people out there who use spirituality as a band-aid and they just say, you know, love and light and we're all one, but they don't really understand it because they didn't learn the lessons. Let me plug in my phone. They didn't learn the lessons. They didn't apply the lessons. And part of the process is to accept other people coming in to help you, because we help each other. You know, it's like a staircase. It's like, I had that dream, and I think I shared it in my dream journal live, where I actually showed you guys my journals. I'm doing good. How are you? And did I pronounce your name right? Pronounce your name right? Christine, why can't I talk today? Syed, is that how it's pronounced? But yeah, I had that dream where there was a wall, okay? It was like at a 90-degree angle, and it was very tall, but it wasn't a man-built wall. It was a grass and dirt wall, right? It was like Gaia just decided to have a straight up 90-degree, perfect 90-degree angle cliff on her. And it was grass and stuff. It was about how the universe provides / manifestation, and then it just kind of wandered off into other topics, but that's the main topic.
I got boy problems, that's the human in me.
That was my mom calling me. It's okay, I'll call her later. Saeed? Is it pronounced Saeed? Oh, tractor. Yeah, so I had that dream that was this cliff, right? And I was there, and we were soldiers. We were soldiers in the dream, which is funny because my friend Clyde, he had a soldier dream later on too. But he is a soldier. But he had a dream like that too later on, but he didn't realize the spiritual aspect of it because he's oblivious. He's not aware of his spiritual ascension. So in this dream, we were trying to figure out, how are we going to get off this cliff? How are we going to ascend up this wall, right? And in the dream, I don't remember if I had, like, you know those hooks they use that you stick into the ground and you get up? I think we had some of those or something like that. And I used it to get up, and they were still helping me by boosting me up because it was too high to just use hooks. So they had to boost me up as high as possible, and then I used the hooks to get all the way up. And then I threw the hooks down, and then they were boosting up, and I was helping pull people up. So that was showing me that it takes a team to get up the wall. It takes a team to get up the staircase. It takes a team to ascend, right? Nobody ascends individually. We have to help each other out. And this is why I keep saying we're not meant to be alone. Spiritually, we are never alone. But we tend to isolate ourselves from people. We tend to isolate ourselves from, other people because we're worried about being let down or being hurt or being disappointed, or being used, abused. And that's perfectly normal, and that's okay. But we have to have faith and trust our discernment. We have to trust our instincts. And we have to understand that sometimes these specific experiences are here to serve a purpose in our ascension. Negative and positive is a point of view. It's perception. I can look at the abuse from a point of, well, I was abused and that really sucks. And, it affected me like this and now I'm this kind of person because I was abused. Oh no. Or I can look at it from the point of, I was abused, but I learned how to love myself. I was abused and I learned how to set boundaries. I was abused and I am so thankful for it because I ultimately became a better person, right? So it's perception. There is no good, there is no bad, there is perception. There is recognizing lessons, blessings, and purpose in everything that happens around us. Yeah. Pretty much, yeah. Like, we have to do it together. Because somebody could be here, right? So there's two people on the same level, right? And somebody's going to trigger, right? I'm going to trigger you. And then you're going to have an aha moment, and you're going to, right? And then somebody over here, you or somebody down here, is going to come and trigger me, and I'm going to go, ow, right? And we trigger each other. And that's how you and I and Shauna and all of us, that's how we're serving each other. We trigger each other in a way that isn't painful, that isn't harsh, that doesn't have the intent to harm, right? We are accepting of each other. We are non-judgmental. We speak our truth. We say it how it is. We say how we're perceiving the other person, right? But we're always planting a seed of love. And even if we don't accept it at that moment, at some point we're going to go, oh, click, pew, quantum leap, right? That's why we need people. We don't get up that wall alone. I have to get off here. My mom's blowing up my phone. I don't know what's going on. So, I love you too. Let me call her. See what's going on. But yeah. Make space for blessings. The universe will provide what we need, who we need, when we need it. We just have to trust and set the intention and behave in a way that shows that we mean it. You know? I can say I want to lose weight, but if I'm going to sit there and shove 2 cakes in my face per day, I'm not going to lose weight, right? I don't go on a hardcore diet, but I do go for walks. I do watch what I eat. I eat a lot of salad. You know, I have phases where I basically don't eat at all. And then I have phases where I'm stuffing my face all day because I'm hungry as shit because I haven't eaten for 3 weeks, right, Christine? That day I was like, I'm eating nuts right now. I'm eating chips right now. I'm eating the salad right now. Like, but I am losing weight steadily, and it's coming off a lot easier than it used to because I'm also healing on a spiritual level, you know? So, yeah, it all goes together. It's all big old cycle. I'm going to call my mom. And then I'm going to go adult in the big, bold, beautiful world. Christine, go to bed. Alright. I love you guys. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you later. I have messages from Shauna. I don't know if you wrote messages in the group too, but I'm going to go check those out after I call my mom. Alright. I love you guys. Bye. Bye, Christine. Good night, night. Bye.